Hi everybody, it's me, Ghost Critic, with another Well That Happened video. I've chosen a news story that's kind of comic book related from the past week, and here I'm going to tell you a little bit more of what I thought about it, giving you my thoughts and opinions. I'm thankful that this storyline came in and I noticed it right at the last minute, otherwise I was going to have to get a little bit dismayed and disappointed over reactions on new film trailers and cast announcements, but I wanted to make a more positive, uplifting video this week. So thankfully, I think it was on CBR, but I saw a video on YouTube. I'll put a link to it in the description bar below. But Brian Michael Bendis was on a show called Late Night with Seth Meyers. I believe it's kind of like an American chat show. I think basically he was promoting the new Powers TV series. But there was a small segment where he recommended gateway books into reading comic books. Interesting choices. Among them were Guardians of the Galaxy, Sex Criminals, Bitch Planet, Hawkeye, Lazarus, and a webcomic called Demon. No surprise to anyone that no DC comics got put on that list, but it clearly shows that Brian Michael Bendis doesn't see Image as a threatening entity. He may wrap it up in the whole, these are creator-owned comics and I support all this, but basically he's not worried about his Marvel sales in relation to Image. So hence the lack of DC titles in his list. So I thought, with this in mind, I would give you my 5 books that I would give someone as a gateway into comics. Now, I did a little bit of research, I looked around, and I wanted to find out what the kind of average age of a comic book reader was. And most of the places I went to kind of split it between gender. Males were predominantly between 27 and 36. And females were between 17 and 26 years old. And you know, they was kind of roughly around that kind of age group. So again, with that in mind, we're looking at a more adult orientated readership, and I wanted to give them something that would reflect their, hopefully, more mature reading styles. So just like pretty much what Bendis did, I kind of veered away from the kind of superhero genre and went for some more kind of adult orientated stuff. So here we go. I started actually with a DC comic. It is the new series by Ray Fawkes and Ben Temple-Smith. It's Gotham by Midnight. And I always find that if I'm going to kind of introduce a comic book to a new reader who hasn't read comics, it's always good to kind of compare it to something that they are familiar with, and especially something that they like. So things like TV and film are perfect choices to compare these comic books to. So if you're a fan of something like X-Files or Supernatural, or to some extent the more recent Constantine TV series, this could well be the thing that you want to be reading. It's dark, it's gritty, it deals with kind of like the supernatural ghostly element of Gotham. There's no Batman in here, and it is so far removed from the kind of tights and capes brigade that most people think when they hear of comic books. So give that one a try. Moving on to an Image comic, ody-c. It might only be 2 issues in, but the creators Matt Fraction and Christian Ward have certainly shown the scope of at least visual imagination that comic books can reach that really no other medium can. It's based on the Greek author and poet Homer and his huge epic poem Odyssey, Homer's Odyssey. But the twist that Matt Fraction gave to this was that he made all the characters female. Something that we as a comic book community want to see more strong female-led books. Well, you can't get more female-led than this title. Moving on to Deadly Class. If we go by the reckoning of these average ages of comic book readers, a lot of people will have been brought up in the 80s, and this is where Deadly Class is firmly set, and it is full of 80s cultural references that anyone who was alive and running around in those years will pick up. It's kind of like if Scorsese directed Harry Potter. It's set in a school for assassins. It's very adult orientated. It's very violent. The language is very adult. But it is a fantastic series, and the artists on here, Wes Craig and Lowridge, just do a fantastic job in portraying this school and all the characters within it. Another Image book, it's Witches, Scott Snyder and artist Jock. Everyone loves to be scared, don't they? The horror genre is a hugely popular, and it's popular in kind of any medium, whether it be in films, in TV, in books. And while I don't think it's the easiest genre to kind of portray in comic books, these two guys have done such a great job in creating a very creepy and visually scary read. If you're a fan of Stephen King and his range of books and novels, this could well be the one that leads you into more comic books. Penultimate one, I've left a favourite of mine for the end, but I couldn't leave off Five Ghosts. If you're looking for something that's more high adventure in a kind of Indiana Jones style, it's basically what if inside you there's spirits of kind of 5 literary tropes, characters, and you could draw on their powers, so to speak. So we have a detective, a vampire, an archer, a wizard and a samurai, all housed in our main character Fabian Grey, and he uses their spirits to get through some very tight situations. The artwork is gorgeous by Moneyham, and the story by Barberi gives you a kind of pulp feel from back in the kind of late 60s, early 70s. Love this book, and I would recommend this to everybody. Now, I chose a graphic novel that first came out as single issues, and if I had the money and if you were a comic book reader and hadn't read this, I would buy you a copy for everybody who hadn't read this. It is, of course, Fabio Moon and Gabriel Barr's Day Tripper, and I think anyone who reads this, whether they don't like the entirety of it all, will find something within it to identify with, and that's a great thing that helps people move into comics. If they can identify with a situation, they're more readily to accept it. And although the topic matter may sound very depressing, it is about death, but it's not. It's more about the living of lives, however long, however short. It's kind of like seizing the day moment, living your life to the fullest. It is one of my all-time favourite graphic novels, and I reread this and never ever get bored of it, and I always say this, I always cry near the end. So they are kind of my gateway comics if I was going to introduce people to the world of non-superhero comic books. I'd be interested to know what kind of comic books that you would recommend. Have you recommended comics to non-readers before? And what was their response to it? I lent The Walking Dead to a work colleague who had started watching the TV series, and he got so far and wanted to stop because he basically caught up to where they were in the TV series. But I'd said to him, look, the TV series is so different now from what is actually going in the comic books. To be fair, it's not going to matter. But that's kind of led him into other comic books, which was great for me. It gave me someone at work to chat comics with about. So that is it for this week. Thank you for tuning in once again. I'm really enjoying doing these videos. I try and find stories that are positive and uplifting rather than a good old moan, though I do like to have a moan sometimes. Get it out of our systems. Until next week, thank you all for watching. Hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up and like this video. And like I said, let me know all your recommendations and stories in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.